who is a tour operator here. So we bring him on board to help us get to know about the basic history of the Kunta Kinteh history. So on that regard, we are going to follow his instructions and follow him to get the basic information that we want to get before the wind will start in the river. We go back.
General.
Apa jadi mesti lah merah muru-muru belum kena ini ya salah.
Okay, good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon.
I am welcoming all of you onto this island. My name is Dudu. I am one of our tour guides in the village of Albreda and Jufure here. Basically, like Ahmad said, I would love to give you a bit introduction and brief history about this island. But before we touch about the island, I would very love actually to put you in picture actually. When you are on this island, I think sometimes you need silence. Maybe you might not understand when I say silence. Remember, this is our forefathers where they suffered for decades of years. That's so long in the generation has suffered a lot. And where we are standing, you might not even know, you may stand on a graveyard. So we have to recall our mind to people and acknowledge to the people we knew and we don't know, those who passed their life through on this island. But I know actually some of the Gambians, in fact, sometimes, you see, I feel very sad. I think most of you maybe have never visited this island. Today is your first time. So tourists are coming 1,000 kilometers when they come to know our own history for us. I think we should not be minority in our own country. If I do a debate with a tourist, no matter you come from Oxford University, you will challenge me on history. Although it could be a surprise to you, sometimes I've never gone to school, not teacher taught me. I've never known what is A, B, and C. But I am proud of who I am. I'm a proud Manjago. When you talk about this history, to me, in fact, I never put it like Atlantic slave trade, as they said. I always tell the tourists I brought here every day, Atlantic human trafficking is to make them to feel we are people, we don't want to be slaves, and we are not slaves. So we've been enslaved by them. We are enslaved by them, like we are forced into something we don't like. In a way, actually, because discovery of the New World 1492. And this happened at a time we all know human labor force was needed. So this is a time when these Portuguese people feel to come to Africa. But in history, when they tell us Columbus discovered America 1492, that's one of the great lies. Well, how can you discover land where there are people already? In history, some of the schools I had them teaching Portuguese are the first people discover Gambia, Mango Park, there and there. Where are our forefathers? Were they not here? Are they not humans? So how can they discover Africa for us? They came here on actually practical, something to practicalize that they bring in us religion. But that religion is not being implemented by these Portuguese. In fact, that's what brings that first Catholic church to be built in the place of Jufure, where we are doing your conference, called the San Domingo Church, 1456. The whole West Africa is the first Catholic church. The church is about people to see. Here around the steel center, that's where Andrew was actually occupied first. When they were sailing across the river Gambia, and they did pass an interesting island, which is Dog Island. In fact, they landed there first. Basically, they didn't actually know where to find this island. But the baboons, they are bagging throwing stones on them. They were disturbed and fed up. They named it Dog Island, and they decided to move 18 sea miles where Andrew settled on this one, after building that church. So when they knew this is the best strategy, look at some point, this is 3 sea kilometers where we take in a boat. Comparing to the river, we call it 5 sea miles. So Andrew was here. After suffering from malaria, Andrew died and he was buried here. The island took the name to be called Andrew Island, 1456. These Portuguese were using their freedom boats. They will be going to the villages, capturing people, hunting people like flies, bringing them here. Slaves were majorly brought here to spend 2 weeks. Only you leave the island is to break your mind mentally. And they will pack them to Gore Island. From there, you will a certain place, you cross the voyage of no return, that's the Atlantic Middle Passage. So since from then, the island was used a period of 5 years. In 1651, there was no building on the island. This is a natural island, it's artificial. It was 4 times bigger than the size we are seeing today. This is a global warming. That's why the island is getting small. Some of these buildings are in the water already. This is what left. Latvians, Duke of Courland, before the Berlin Conference was held in Germany, they set the fort on the island. In history, you cannot say James Island was built. The island is here already, it's natural. It's the fort they set on the island. In 1661, the British English people brought all these canoes, attacked the island. They took the island from the Portuguese, they call it King James II. The James Island took this. That's why in our history, it's called James Island. You see. Then Gambia, Senegal, we are one country, we are called Senegambia region because we are under Mali Empire. We have the Songa and the Ghana Empire there. So France came. When they came with a strategy to attack the English, but they couldn't take the island. What the French people do, they occupied the land. They were pushing the land. Gambia was what to one time Kaula. You see, in history, I do have some elders say, in fact, Senegalese and Nene, Jawara it's not true. You know, it's the French which separate us because they were bringing iron bars, guns, mirrors, alcohol, sugar, mirror, coffees, and all that extra. That's why that building in the mainland is important. It's a French warehouse. So they separate us from Senegal. And Al-Badar, you see, that's why it gets 3 names. When they give the land to the French, they call it Al-Badar, but then Al-Badar was having a local name because found by Musanke Jato Kemutis Talbes from Serekunda, Senegal. They were using that particular of my village has recitation of Quran, they call it Dara. When the French took the land, they call it Al-Badar. When we were colonized by English, they said Al-Breda, you see. So the island was used again for a period of 5 years. The Spanish people interfere into the business. They come and bomb the island. But the English were all along interested on the river because it's one of the navigable waterways to find yourself in Europe. This is why if you are going backward, even no matter you start in Senegal, Mali, you must touch our Gambia water, but you won't realize it in this way. That's why Mali even don't have seaport. You see, they used to come with those big trucks together, goods and Guinea-Bissau and other things. You see, the location of the river is interesting. The British are not mad because anything coming, you pay a tax to them. So the Dutch in Netherlands were the last people to attack this island. So slavery, enslavement took 400 years in Africa. But after a man come out with a strategy plan as an instrument in England, Thomas Clarkson, he was not a recognized member in the British Parliament, but he was doing underground work, supported by William Wilberforce. They do a strategy plan to stop it 1807. Like when I said, why do you think slavery stopped? Does it have something to do with your political reason or our religion? No, because of the Industrial Revolution was picking up. You are not no longer needing humans to work for you and you are paying them a huge of money. You see? So they stopped it in 1807. But after stopping it, it gives a problem to the people here. Now the rest of the slaves we have, we can't give you food, we can't give you water. If you stay here, you will die for hunger. Can you try, you go back to your community? The rest of people here jump back in the water to go back to Albreda. That's why you have that cannon at Albreda with the flag white pole. If you can touch that pole, you can free. But they knew we can't swim. All those dead bodies are in the bottom of the river. So thousands, millions of people were taken after the end of slavery, 400 years. According to the plan, in fact, the masters give were 15 to 20 million, but we are always say it's more than that because people die today in the middle class. Are they not? So slavery become a wound with all the barbarities these Europeans were doing to me and me and you. We can only forgive, but we can't forget. No doctor can heal this for us. Even in the British history, 1623, You know, the first British ship arrived. But despite slavery and colonization, when our parents arrived in this country, 25,000 Caribbeans, Africans served the First World War and the Second World War under the Act of the British Law 1945. And so long window generation suffered a lot. And these people were needed at that time. They were classified as British citizenship. But today it's the same in England. That's why that Prime Minister told them, no one can tell Africans today how many Africans have been in their hell today, how many Africans have been killed, how many of them are deported today. It's the same to the English country and the whole world. So these trees you see, baobabs are not trees which are official indigenous trees in the Gambia. Baobabs are brought by Europeans, they are from Madagascar. All baobabs you see in Senegal and Gambia, Europeans brought them from Madagascar. And then plant them. If they can talk, they can tell you more than I'm telling you. These trees are surviving 400 or 500 years. They witness everything. They are full of human spirit and souls. So this island today, thank God, Michael Jackson brother. I remember I was here with Michael Jackson brother, Jamie Jackson from America, Sister Kalangi Mata Baruka family on this island on the 6th of February 2011. We changed the name of this island to call it Kunta Kinteh. But all along we are dormant in the Gambia, we're celebrating our government, the Minister of Tourism. Nobody recalled to change the name of this island. It's not a European island calling it Andrew or James. It's our island. We call it and name it after a person who was born in the village of Jufure, 1750, Kunta Kinteh, who left the Gambia on the 6th of September, arrived in America on the 29th of September. And he was been amputated in Annapolis in America by Tomley, the plantation master. He never come back. Kunta never have a child here. He only had a wife there who he married and had called Bella, and he had a girl called Kissy. That Kissy was the one they raped in the plantation. He got Chicken George. That Chicken George married to Irene. Irene married and then Cynthia. Cynthia married and then Simon. Simon is the father of Alex, the African American, who do a research for 13 good years like what you're doing. And he ended up flight in Ghana. He met Ibu Manga. He was the first Gambian who was sent by Sadauda Keraba Jawara when he took the country in 1965 as a Gambian who went to study agriculture. And he asked if there's a Mbinka here in this university. Ibu Manga said yes. He said, I want to know where Kunta Kinteh come from because it's the 7th generation. And the Ibu Manga directed him to Jufure, a small village here which is opposite to the island. Alex said it came in 1967 and they make a book of roots. So all this is in the water now. This is the governor house where he was buried, and this is the governor residence, and this is a women's slave house. This island was used as a baby factory. Young Gambians who are just start developing breasts will be captured, brought by these Europeans. They use them as sex slaves on this island, you can imagine. And then this is the main slave house. 32 slave castles were built around this. So this is in the water. This is what we're going to see today. This is the front door of the island. This is the back of the island. This is on the original jetty. This is where the original jetty used to be. So that is, I think, if I want to talk house, we still come here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you for your delivery.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much.